Hello everyone, I'm Steffi Anthony from IILT and today I'm here with 5 exciting phrasal verbs that you can use for your IELTS speaking test. If you're thinking what are phrasal verbs, then to simply put it, phrasal verbs are phrases that define action. For example, speak up. Speak up is a phrasal verb. It does not mean to speak looking upwards. Like, hello, how you doing? Well, it is not like this. Speak up means to speak louder. For example, if you want to tell someone to speak loudly, you can tell them, speak up. I'll be introducing to you my favorite batch of 5 exciting phrasal verbs that you can use to impress your IELTS examiner. Normally, there will be questions in part 1 of IELTS speaking test based on your work or study. So you can use the phrasal verb to knuckle down. Now what are knuckles? Knuckles are this portion of your hand. And when you say to knuckle down, what does it mean? It means to focus on your study or work. For example, you can use this phrasal verb as I have exams next month and I really need to knuckle down. What does that mean? I have exams coming next month or in the following month I have exams and I really need to work hard. So to say that, you can use the phrasal verb to knuckle down. There will be also questions based on your hometown. For example, describe a little about your hometown. Now how can you tell that using a phrasal verb? There's a phrasal verb called back in the day. Back in the day. Which means if you're referring something in the past, you can use the phrasal verb back in the day. For example, back in the day, the streets were highly crowded. Which means in the past, the streets were very much crowded. But now it is not crowded. So in order to refer to a past event, you can use the phrasal verb back in the day. In the IELTS speaking test, part 2, which is the cue card session, they will ask you questions like to describe a thing. For example, to describe a hotel that you recently visited, or to describe a movie that you watched, or to describe a book that you read. Now, when questions like this come, you can use a very exciting phrasal verb. It is known as to stumble upon. To stumble upon, which means to find by chance. For example, today I would like to talk about a book that I stumbled upon recently. Or you can say, today I would like to talk about a movie that I stumbled upon last week. Which means you found by chance and it was very exciting for you. So this is a very fun phrasal verb that you can use in your speaking test for cue card section if they ask you to describe a thing. In part 3 of IELTS speaking test, often there are questions that they ask based on will something change in the future or how will something change in the future. For that you can use the phrasal verb to bank on. To bank on, which means to expect something to happen in the future, or if you're hoping for some result in the future, you can use the phrasal verb to bank on. For example, if the question is, do you think in future more people will move from villages to cities? If this question is asked, you can answer it using the phrasal verb to bank on. Well, I'm banking on that there will be a demographic shift from villages to cities. I'm banking on, which means I am expecting. So when questions related to changes happening in the future are asked, you can use the phrasal verb to bank on. In part 3, there are also questions very frequently asked on what do you think about something. For example, do you think that smartphones are a great addiction to younger people? Now, if this question is asked, how can you answer them? Very commonly, IELTS candidates use the phrase, well, I think, also I think. This is a very common phrase used. Let's make your answer different today. You can answer using the phrasal verb to mull over. To mull over. To mull over means to think about something very carefully. For example, if the question was, do you think smartphones are a great addiction to younger people? You can answer it as, well, I have been mulling over this for quite a long time, and I think smartphones have been a great blessing during this lockdown. So this is how you can use the phrasal verb to mull over. So let's avoid using the very common phrase, I think, and switch on to mull over. You can use these phrasal verbs to impress your IELTS examiner. These are the 5 fun phrasal verbs that you can use in your IELTS speaking test. Don't forget to use them because they can really help you to score better.
IILT International Institute of Language and Training. Download IILT Learning app from Play Store.